Hello, everyone. I am Victoria Bularda, founder of the Woman of Success, and I'm here with my guest, Gabriela, which I'm very happy she accepted my invitation because we didn't have the chance to talk for 1, 2 years, I think.
I think so.
And actually, Gabriela was one of our supporters of this community, Woman of Success. And I want to thank you, Gabriela, for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me today.
So I will say you are an engineer
Mhm.
as by formation, but now you are coaching, correct?
Yes. And beside many other things.
Exactly. So because of that, because it's a long list and you are a very busy businesswoman,
Mhm.
I'll let you to tell us what your partners, business partners or your clients says about Gabriela Casineanu.
I think you should ask them.
We don't have one of them with us.
The questions I get quite often are, why did you change from engineering to coaching? Why did you choose to focus on introverts? How did you come up working with introverts? Or did you realize in which direction to change your careers? Because there are many people who want to change their careers. Another question is, how did you manage to go from engineering to coaching to professions that are quite different,
And we'll
that
talk
require,
about that during our discussion. So I'm sure you have many testimonials on your website.
yes.
So because of that, I wanted in just few words you to say what your business partners or your clients are telling about you.
Mhm. So my coaching clients like about what I'm doing with them because I open their mind. I help them see the situations that their career or their life from different perspectives, and that opens up possibilities to figure out what they can do, how they can move forward, what makes them get stuck, and how they can overcome those inner barriers. I also work with organizations. I'm an organizational and relationship system coach, so I like to work with systems. Not only because I'm an engineer, but I'm someone who has a strategic thinking quite developed, and I like to look from a system perspective, systems, subsystems, how they work together, especially in relationship systems. It's a very interesting dynamic and how we can shape it to help people go in the directions they want all together, not just the leader.
Yeah.
So there are different aspects of what I'm doing. So I don't want to take too much time. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of questions.
So yes, I know you are organizational and relationship systems coach, and actually, I think it's a very, very interesting concept. Which, by the way, you introduce it to myself, and I know you are very passionate about. How did you discover this passion, Gabriela?
You're talking about coaching in general or this specific one?
This specific one, yeah.
That was the easiest part. Uh,
Really?
because the most difficult part was when knew that I want to change my career and I didn't know in which direction. As soon as I figured out that I want to go into coaching, I start taking the first program in coactive coaching from the Coaches Training Institute at that time. And they have a group of training courses for coaches, first time coaches, and then there was an advanced program in coaching, organization and relationship systems coaching. So I took the first two series in the new program, and then they split, and this became a different organization. It's CRR Global right now, who delivers this training in organizational relationship systems coaching. So when I started with the training, the coactive training, I learned the coaching skills to ask questions, to help people see things from different perspectives. But I was having in my mind, that's all. What else is here? Because it seems too simple. imagine someone who comes from engineering,
Yeah.
it looked like quite simple. So I said must be something deeper than that. So that's what I found in organizational relationship systems coaching. And then when I start working with the concepts and the techniques they gave us, I realized that it applies to everything, even to human relationship, even relationship with self, relationship with your career. So it's not only something external to you, it could be internal. We have an inner team. How do you manage that inner team? So I become fascinated about these concepts and techniques.
Thank you, Gabriela. I'm wondering when you decided, I don't want to be in this career anymore as an engineer, and after that you work in non-profit and you develop a wonderful career as well. But being a coach, actually, it was your how to say, it was the something which decide it made you to decide to be a business owner as well, or how exactly that happened?
Mhm. So I knew that I don't get satisfaction from engineering. So I looking into what can I do? What else can I do? I was doing this even back in Romania before coming to Canada, and I was looking to what kind of courses are available, what's out there, what it's needed. And when I came here, I realized that actually I should focus on myself. So I developed a list of skills that I would like to use in the career of my dreams. And at one point, I looked at my list and figured out that it might be coaching. I didn't know much about coaching at the time. So I went back to two people that I met in the first 2 weeks in Canada, and they both were coaches. They both went through the same training. And I started taking the first segment of the training, and I got hooked into coaching. So as soon as I start the coaching training, they were encouraging us to start our business, coaching business. So you are talking that I worked in nonprofit. I shifted the career from engineering to coaching, and I was looking for something because you cannot grow a business from yesterday until tomorrow.
Correct.
So I was looking for an opportunity where I can use my coaching skills, but also I can bring something from my background. So that's why I found that opportunity to develop a mentoring program for a non-profit organization. It was a mentoring program for professional newcomers. So having a professional background, I could relate to them, and I had the coaching skills to help them understand how they can look differently at the job market and their search, so they can become more successful in finding jobs and moving their career forward. So I, all the time since I started the training in coaching, I worked on my business in parallel. Even if I took on part-time or full-time positions, I was still working on my business.
Very interesting. Uh, then speaking about the newcomers, is it difficult for an immigrant woman to find her way in business?
Immigrant woman newcomer.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for a newcomer, the most difficult part is you don't know exactly how things are working in the new country. So you have to understand the culture, how things are happening, progressing, what a business person, not only a introverted or an immigrant newcomer women, in general, a business person, what they can do to move forward. And you will come across the concept of networking.
Mhm.
And why is that important? Because especially for newcomers, for immigrants, we don't have a network here. We don't know many people like we know back home. So you have to put yourself out there so people get to know you, get to know what you can offer, what they can get from your business. So I think this is the biggest problem they have. Another one could be the English. If they English is not the first language, like it's not
Yeah.
mine or yours. So I had a lot when I started my coaching business. I have a lot of limiting beliefs around my English. Who will want a coach who doesn't speak like a native English speaker? So I have to get a coach to help me with that, to overcome that inner barrier. And also, you need that successful mindset that many people are talking about, because when you shift from being an employee to being a business owner, it's a totally different way of thinking. It's not the check that is coming, the paycheck that is coming every 2 weeks. what
Correct.
do you do to get the business going?
Mhm.
At the beginning, it takes some time. You have to build the coaching, or you have to build the business. You have to let people know. And the most important, you have to build trust and credibility. You don't have that when you start a business. So I think that there are a lot of barriers, like for any other person who starts a business. And for immigrant newcomers, women, it's even more difficult because there are additional barriers you need to face, to overcome.
And you mentioned you had a coach when you decided to go in business field. So, what was the best piece of advice you received and help you in the beginning of this road?
It has to be my introversion because I'm not someone who goes out there and knock at the doors and go to networking events. It's not only about the pandemic, but a lot of business owners, that's how they get business. They get out there and talk to people, so they get to know them, they get to know what they are doing. They ask for business, and for me as an introvert, I don't want to do that. Even though I don't do it too much, I found other ways of building my business, not the traditional way they usually say extroverts are doing business. So the most important advice was to not focus just on building my business, kind of inside of the business, to get out there so people get to know what I'm
Mhm.
doing, get those testimonials, start a website. Even if I don't have a perfect website, you can improve it in time. So just start somewhere and build on it. Don't just stay in your mind.
Mhm. Don't just plan, action as well. In other words,
Yeah, action, fail fast. I learned a few years ago this concept of fail fast. It was at a networking event, and someone who is a serial entrepreneur said he got this advice from someone who is more advanced and him in business to fail fast. What that
Mhm.
means, try something, see what's working, what's not working, learn from it, try again, learn, try again, learn, validate, try again. So that's how people build businesses. It's not that you have to plan everything and start implementing your plan, because there are so many variables, so many things happening when you start putting things in action, and you have to take in consideration everything. So it's not just by a business plan. Actually,
and and to
build.
keep it adaptable, that business is not like something fixed, because we talked in the beginning about the relationship systems and how those are moving around. Yeah, so I think for the business is very available as well.
It is.
um, if you had the chance to choose again a career or business, what would you choose and why?
If it would be to start again after I graduated the high school, I'm not sure that I will go into another profession if I would be in the same frame of mind. Because what happened, I'm someone who is very intuitive, and I didn't do well at math and physics when I just started school. So my mom taught me the logical side of solving problems, and I became very good at math and physics. So I came to believe that I'm very good on that path. So engineering seemed like a natural field to go into. So if I have to take you back, I will take you back in my childhood if I didn't get that detour. And everything that happened after, I was searching for myself, because I felt that it's not something that I really resonate with. I was a good engineer, because usually when you put your mind to something, you can be a good in any profession. But I was looking into why I don't like this. So I moved from one department to another, into another city. I was working for Rom Telecom, so there were different departments in different cities. So I was questioning myself all the time. What else is here? So at one point, I did an MBA, and that was even worse, because I realized that there are so many aspects of running a company, and I didn't have the power to do anything at the level where I was at the time. but that kind of opened my mind about the business side. And when I had the opportunity to come to Canada, I still had that question in mind: what can I do? So I was looking all the time until I figured out that I have to look inside. And I chose the coaching career because I felt that I resonate with what I was hearing about it. And when I start going into this field, I noticed that it matches very well my personality. So the rest of it, everything that I've done things that I loved. That's how I shaped my path. Even when I
Mhm.
was running that program, it was interesting because I'm someone who has a lot of ideas. So starting a program was like, sure, even if I never started a program before, marketing the program, no problem. So I was doing a lot of things that I love to. Then I got into using coaching into employment counseling. So I brought a different perspective to what usually is advice for employment and career. And then I got into writing and building my coaching business in parallel, starting Introverts Academy. So everything I've done since I changed my career, it's kind of opening up one step after another. But everything, it's something that I love.
Yeah, and actually, speaking about the introverts, I consider you as an advocate, trying to encourage all the introverts. They can do whatever they want.
Mhm.
It's just how to trick their brains to be able to, to go where they want to go.
Mhm.
And yes, in engineering, it's fine to be introverted, maybe. But as you mentioned, in marketing and trying new things and going there and expose yourself, in other words, is not. It's a different story.
Mhm.
So, can you tell us what you have done until now for the everybody? And doesn't matter what industry they are, for the introverts, Gabriela.
What I've done or how I overcame my own introversion challenges
If
to
you
get to this
if you
point.
want to tell us, I didn't ask you something so personal, but of course you can tell us about both.
For me, nothing is personal. It's we have one life, which has a career aspect and non-career aspect, let's say. So I'm just talking about life, so that's why I'm very comfortable to talk about it. How I've got into public speaking, for example, I was using the coaching concepts and techniques in that program, but I realized that actually I don't have enough mentors, so I wanted to help more people. So I started doing workshops. That's why I got into public speaking. I didn't think about, oh, I have to push myself to go speak in front of people. I have something to say. I wanted to help people. So I put myself in that situation, and I liked the experience. I liked the feedback. So I continue. So gradually I get out of the comfort zone, and I expand my comfort zone with every experience that I went through. Marketing is the same. I love marketing. It's so creative. You can do a lot of things.
See.
So that's why I discovered for an introvert, for example, we're not very good at verbal communication, but we're very good at other type of communication, like non-verbal, writing, social media. I notice that a lot of people are afraid, especially introverts, are afraid to go on social media. They don't want to talk about themselves. But I took it, like one drop at a time. I put something there, I notice the reaction, what people are saying. At the beginning, no one said anything. I'm like, okay, at least no one said something negative. I put another one and I got some positive feedback. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I put another one. So gradually, I got this confidence to be on social media, for example. And I learned about LinkedIn and I start connecting with people and posting on LinkedIn and getting a lot of benefits after doing it. So that's my networking, socializing through social media without going out and meeting people in person. So gradually, you don't have to think that you are here and you want to go there. What can you do? The first step.
Mhm.
What's the next step? What do you learn from this? How was the experience? How you can adjust to be better next time and next time. So as long as you're true to yourself and you make these baby steps, you move forward. It's like a journey. I call it the introvert's hero journey. Because in time you develop new skills, you realize that, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And throughout this process, you also discover what you're passionate about if you didn't know at the beginning, like I didn't. So when you discover that a lot of energy comes from inside, so you want to go there because you have something, you connect with a meaningful cause. So it's giving you energy to go there and speak to strangers, for example.
Yeah, still, I would like you to put the list of how many things you have done for introverts, because I know you did a lot of stuff. Like even discovering that, like teaching or coaching the newcomers with the wheel,
Mhm.
that is something, and you saw the links, the dots, how to link those dots about the introverted aspect of the people and that well. Yeah, so I'll let you to continue, please.
That wheel you're talking about, it's a concept that I learned. It's the first concept that you learn in coaching, in the coaching trainings that I went through. And I love the idea not of the wheel, but of a holistic approach to
Mhm.
life, to career, to everything you do. There are several aspects. Usually, people, for example, when they think I need a job, they think, oh, show me where I can send a resume, and they send a resume. There are so many aspects to it to make that process more effective. So I started applying coaching, and at one point I started realizing that there is a difference between extroverts and introverts in the way they do job search, in the way they present themselves in the interview, in the way they are interviewed by employers. So I noticed a difference. So I start adding more of this component of differentiating the strategies that I share with extroverts and introverts, because they might use the same strategy but in a different way to get
Mhm.
the results that they want. Because everyone says go out and network if you want a job, so many more people know about you, but an introvert won't do it. So I reframe the concept and I show how as an introvert you can go out there and find information, talk to people, get feedback. It was very encouraging for me to get feedback from stranger, because you know about yourself, you know how you are, but you don't know how other people are seeing you. So just by
Mhm.
going and talking to people, I was not doing networking in my mind. I was just curious to see what other people are thinking about me, what advice they can give me. So it was a different approach. But the starting point of putting me on the path to help introverts was when I was doing a workshop with 40 students of Ryerson University. And it was a group, I put them in a big circle of chairs. And at one point, I never asked that question before. I asked them, how many of you are shy or introverted? And half of them raised a hand. Half of them. I'm like, look around to see how many people are like you. And I said I was like you. And like now, look, I'm leading a workshop to 40 strangers and I have no problem doing it. I worked on myself. At the end of the workshop, one of the students came to me. I still get goosebumps when I'm talking
Yeah,
about
I'm
this.
sure. I'm sure.
She came to me saying, I want to thank you because until you ask us to look around, I thought I'm the only shy person in the world. And I realized that I don't know if she was shy or introverted because it's not the same thing. But the idea is if you isolate yourself, you don't know there are other people like you.
Yeah.
And that made me think, actually, I want to help more people like her. And she continued, I also want to thank you because you shared that you were like us and you were able to overcome this. I didn't know that I can overcome this, that I can work on it. So I really opened a door for her. So from that point on, I was focusing more on introversion and strategies for introverts to differentiate from extroverts. And when I got into a burnout in 2016, I couldn't talk for 4 months. And during that time, I asked myself, what can I do if I can talk the rest of my life? I was worried. And the next thought after that question was to write a job search guide for introverts. Like, that's interesting. I never thought about that book. So I started writing it. And from writing that book, I wrote other books for introverts and workshops. And recently I started the Introverts Academy to bring everything I know into a platform so people go there and find the information they want wherever they are in their journey. Because today they might be interested in a job, tomorrow they might be interested in other aspect of their life, relationship with self, for example, or self-development. So I want this platform to be quite holistic. To bring,
Complete. Yeah.
yeah, I bring that wheel concept that you're talking about into this platform.
And
And
actually, I would like you to say more about this university, the Introverts University, because you launched it like what, 2 weeks ago,
I
or
know, January 2nd,
yeah.
on the National Introverts Day.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, it was at the end of last year. I was feeling tired after 2 months of very intense work on another project. And I took a break. And during that week, I've got this idea to start. At that point, the idea was Introverts University. Later on, I realized that I cannot use university if it's not a post-secondary education registered with the Ministry of Education and all the stuff. And I don't want to go in that direction. So I changed it to Introvert Academy. So this idea came exactly with the concept that I'm telling you. I want a platform where introverts can go and find information, because I noticed that many people don't know if they are introverts or extroverts. So I want to help them figure out. I have a workshop
Yeah.
coming up in 2 days exactly about this. Um, I want also to understand, because there are a lot of misconceptions. Some people think I did a presentation to one point, and the guy came to me. I'm an extrovert. I'm a business development for my company. I go out and talk to people. And when you start talking, he's like, I'm not so sure that I'm an extrovert anymore. Because you have to understand the introversion and extroversion comes from the way the brain is wired. And we come into this life that way. You can build on that, learn new skills, learn how to talk to people, to go and develop a business,
Mm.
but you still need time to recharge. So
Yeah.
you're still an introvert, that you actually build on that with new skills, new experience along that way. So that's why I'm talking about a hero journey, an introvert hero journey, because you start somewhere, maybe you start shy, or you start wanting to be just by yourself, reading a book, don't want to talk to anyone. But in time, you realize that actually you want more of that than that. You want to connect to people, but not the way they tell you to connect with them.
Yeah.
You want to connect in a meaningful way. You care about meaningful causes, and you want to contribute, and you cannot contribute if you don't connect with people. So you kind of push yourself to go through those comfort zones to make them bigger and bigger. And that's how you get to a point where people can say, like they say when I do a workshop, oh, you're an extrovert, look how you're talking. I'm like, no, I'm not an extrovert, don't ask me how much time I need to recharge after. I'm still an introvert, but what you see is that energy that you're seeing when I'm talking comes from inside, comes from the fact that I'm passionate about the topic I'm sharing right now with you.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a different perspective. From outside, we might look the same if we are so animated and energized, but the energy comes from two different sources.
I
So
understand.
did I answer your question, or do you want more?
Yeah, yeah, no, you answer, and I'm glad you mentioned a few things you have done, like the books, or but I know also you created a club of the immigrants writers. So it's that like a non-profit you founded, or
It's a non-profit corporation.
yeah,
From the beginning, I said I don't want a club. I don't want a group of people. I want something that is a separate entity.
yeah,
So I got together with 12 more immigrants, and we started the Immigrant Writers Association. I wanted to share because after I wrote the first book, I realized that I don't know much about the publishing landscape in Canada, about how to promote a book. And I realized that when we are more, we can leverage each other networks to
mm-hmm.
promote. We can support each other, we can give feedback. So I wanted to start that association. And when I noticed that people liked the idea, we came together and we started the association. We incorporated with Canada at the federal level. So it's a totally separate entity. I'm the founder and the president for the second mandate right now, but I won't be forever. So I want to pass it to someone else if there are other people interested. But I wanted to encourage more immigrants to share because we have so much to share our thoughts, our experiences, culture. I wanted to give a voice to immigrants
Yeah.
because you notice what we see in the media usually it's coming more from Canadian born perspective. We don't see too much into the mainstream of that multiculturalism, which is actually very everywhere in Canada.
In Canada, yeah, for sure. And this was the reason I name you. I think you are like an advocate for introverts, for like for sure you volunteer a lot. When I met you first time, you were volunteering a lot. And you did this shift to business. And I think took a while until you really became very strong on business. Is true or
Yes, it took a lot because if you have a full-time job and you're an introvert and you want to focus on your business, you don't have much
just
energy.
gee.
And as an introvert, you want to do well the job, you want to build your business. For example, when I started my business in the first 6 months, I was so passionate about it. I was asking everyone, would you like a coaching session? And I was working almost 60 hours per week for the company because they were asking us to work extra hours, and I was doing my coaching. And after 6 months, I had problems swallowing my food. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot continue that way. So you have to pace it out. You have to take your time because even if you're passionate about something, you need to give yourself time to, especially if you're an introvert, you don't have as much energy as extroverts. So you have to take the time to, and also to figure out what you want. I didn't know
Mhm.
at the beginning. If I knew that I will go toward introverts, it was much easier, but I didn't know my niche at the beginning. So when you don't have a niche, you ask everyone and you get all kind of experience and you don't expand so much. Right now, I people start coming to me because they look at me like an introvert expert, but you have to go through a process to get to a level like this. So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, and now actually you can say you manage multiple businesses in the same time. Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can say that. I have my
Would you like to
Aquamom design.
disclose what are you like how many businesses you have in this moment, like the name of them?
Yeah, I have two businesses and the immigrant writers associations that I work with. As a,
Okay.
I'm the president, so yeah.
Yeah. And now the university.
Yes, the university is part of my business. It's kind of a
Oh, okay.
project for my business. Maybe at
Mhm.
one point I will make it a separate, but for now it's kind of a project that I built for my business.
Yeah,
It's
I thought it's a business also. Yeah, so I understand.
I kind of blend at this point what I'm doing for my coaching business with what I'm doing in Introverts Academy.
Hmm.
So at one point I might separate them, but for now I'm just focused on building it. The structure, I think we'll figure out in time what the best format for it.
And maybe you remember, Gabriela, when we met and we talked the first time about community Women of Success.
Mhm,
I shared with you the success. We try to change in a way this kind of vision, success equal money,
mhm.
like it's important the fulfillment and other pieces to feel successful. Yeah. So
Mhm.
what is success for Gabriela Casineanu?
For me,
Yes.
that's a good question because I was expecting you to ask me what is success, and I wanted to give you exactly the response that I give to my clients when I have a one workshop that it's called "How Your Own Mindset Affect Your Business,"
Hmm.
and we talk about success. And what I'm telling them, success is whatever you define as success. For me, success is doing what I want and having an impact on people.
Nice.
And I don't want to have an impact only on introverts. I also want to help extroverts and introverts understand each other and communicate better. I want to go into companies to help them create environments that allow both extroverts and introverts to flourish, because right now the environment in the corporate world and even in nonprofit is not conducive enough to allow introverts to express themselves the way they can. So the companies or organization can get more out of their human resources. And also I want to go to the system level because there are systemic barriers for introverts. So I want to go to several levels. So what I'm doing with Introverts University, I want to approach all these levels. I'm starting with individuals, but also gradually I will go into organizations and work on the other levels.
Very interesting. Very
It's a big
interesting.
project.
The business concept you want to develop.
It's all in my mind, but I have it from quite some time actually, but kind of
Crystallized.
materialized in this period of time.
Yeah. So, Gabriela, thank you very much for your time and kindness to share about your own experiences. And please send a message to those women who are thinking to switch from a career to business. What should they do to be successful, in your opinion?
Look at something that you love to do, because there are a lot of challenges along the way when you start a business, and even when you want to grow a business. And you need that motivation to go that will take you through those challenges.
Mhm.
If you just start a business because you want money, that at one point when you get too tired or too many challenges, you might give up. So you really need something like a guiding star. That why that people are talking. Why do you want to go into business? What's your why? What impact do you want to make with that business? So think beyond the business and let that guide you to overcome all the challenges along the way.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk
My
with you
pleasure.
as usual. Thank you,
Thanks for-
Gabriela.
Thank you.